Welcome to the Hollywood Raw YouTube page, guys. We're happy to have you here. Make sure you like, subscribe, leave us comments, do all the stuff.
What are you waiting for? Let's go. I got a drug addiction to feed.
Welcome to the Hollywood Raw podcast. My name is Adam Glyn. Not over there is Dax Holt. Dax is on vacation. I am Mr. 365. I don't take vacations because in Hollywood there is no vacations. No, Dax is away. He's in Europe living that fancy life. I wish he'd let me borrow his Tesla. Instead, I'm going to just keep driving my Honda Accord. One day I will be able to drive a Tesla, not anytime soon. If you're not familiar with the podcast, this is the Hollywood Raw podcast. My name is Adam Glyn. I'm a journalist with close to 2 decades of experience. Actually, I'm getting up there. Dax has 2 decades of experience because he's older than me. He's always able to get a job out of college quicker than I was. But on this podcast, we kind of reveal the fourth wall of Hollywood. And that's what we're doing on today's episode. Today's episode is sort of like a street journalist roundtable. You know, some people might call us paparazzi. We like to call ourselves street journalists. At least the guys on today's episode are, because we do it with charm. We do our job with pride. We do our job with honor, and we're good at what we do. We have my buddy Joe Andaloro and Justin Foley on today's episode. They've been on in the past, and we're kind of just have this kind of – I love talking to guys like them. I love talking to the paparazzi out there. I love talking to – because they have just insane experiences. And we actually talked about it recently on last week's Raw Rundown. There's reporters and there's journalists. Reporters, this is their job. Google search, what happened? This is what happened. What happened? This is what happened. Journalists, on the other hand, we find out the story, then question the story, and we're able to make more stories from those stories. And guys like me, Joe, Justin, we're on the assignment. We're at the scene of the crime. For example, Joe recently just did, not recently, a few months back, was on the ground floor of the Matt LeBlanc death, which was a terrible situation. But Joe was one of the first people at the scene, was able to kind of cover the scene live on his stream. We're going to talk about this new streaming platform that Joe and I and Justin are all on. But we're able to have those conversations and candid conversations. And that's what we're doing today, about our job. I love catching up with guys like this. I love to hear their experiences dealing with celebrities in mind, because we all have different experiences. It makes the job fun. That's what makes it unique and interesting to hear they're all different perspectives if they've had similar experiences as I did. And yeah, it's just one of these things where we guys like Joe and Justin and I, we connect because we feel so – there's not many people that do what we do out there. And when we're able to kind of talk to people that understand the concerns, the highs and the lows of the field, it's just very comforting. And that's why that's why I really enjoy conversations like we're going to have today in today's podcast. Usually on the podcast, we read reviews, Dax and I, but Dax is away, and we're not going to read a review today. We're going to get right to our guest. Our guests today are my friend Justin Foley and Joe Andaloro, two video journalists that run around on the streets doing celebrity interviews all over Hollywood. They're also streamers. They're live streaming on streaming sites like Vanivia and TikTok. We're going to get into that as well. But please welcome today's guests, Joe Andaloro and Justin Foley. So occasionally I step on my own words. I said Matt LeBlanc, that Joe was on one of the first people to see when Matt LeBlanc died. Matt LeBlanc did not die. It was Matthew Perry. I get mixed up with the two. Who knew that two of the guys that were very close in names we're going to be on the same show together, two Matts. But Joe and Justin, thanks for coming on the podcast. You guys are based in LA doing what I'm doing. I do what I do in New York. And I think we all could agree. One thing that connects the three of us is that there's not many people out there that do what we do. If you meet another accountant, it's just another accountant in another city. But there's only like a handful of people out there. It's so niche what we do that it's so weird. And I think we kind of like vent to each other about the highs and lows of the industry. Right now, you guys are pretty much, you guys are big time. You guys are working. You guys are out there day and night in LA. Where are the current celebrity hotspots in LA? Is it still Craig's? Has it slowed down there? Where are people going these days, guys?
Joe, you want to take this one?
Well, I mean,
I think we need to start checking out Giorgio Baldi for the A-list clientele. We did see recently De Niro, Sean Penn, and Leo. That was about 6 weeks ago. They all had a power dinner there. And of course, Leo came out completely shrouded in like a Darth Maul outfit. I don't know. This guy's, what's the big deal, man? I mean, he's not getting followed around every day, day in and day out by paparazzi. He goes to one of the hottest spots and he covers himself, in linen, in black linen, and he makes his fiance or girlfriend drive the car. I mean, it was bizarre, but that's a conversation for a whole other chat. But Giorgio Baldi, Craig's is always going to be a mainstay, at least in the last 6-7 years, and of course this Catch Steak. I'm not really digging the vibes at Catch Steak. It's kind of like the security outside are guarding it like it's the Pentagon. Is this a steakhouse or some kind of governmental facility? I mean, relax, guys. I mean, you're just going in for a steak and a martini, right?
Yeah, well, I think it's actually, I saw your videos, Joe, and Joe has this really great streaming platform. He's on TikTok. He's on Vanivia, which we'll get into that when we'll explain what it is, but it's called The Joy of Everything. It seems like there's a different clientele at Giorgio Baldi. I think it's more of old Hollywood. I saw, who have I seen there? I saw, obviously, I've seen Spielberg there. I've seen De Niro there. Do you see that crowd that still goes to Craig's, or is it just old Hollywood that goes to Giorgio Baldi? And what's this? I'm familiar with the scene outside Craig's, but what is it like outside Giorgio Baldi? Is there paparazzi just waiting to see who shows up in and out? Are the valets cool about it, or what's the deal there?
Yeah, I mean, it seems pretty chill. I mean, the valets are cool. It's a small sidewalk. There's not much. Most of these areas, you're in a very kind of small, limited space, just like I imagine New York is too. It's on the coast, so the vibe is a little more, coastal. There's maybe one or two paps there that cover it night in, night out. And maybe at Craig's, there's 3 or 4 on a regular basis. Some nights there's none. We're seeing a decline in, paparazzi coverage where, people are just trolling around neighborhoods to see who's having lunch and whatnot. But, Foley and I will be there.
Yeah. Well, that's actually my question for you, Foley, is this. Yeah. What celebrity out there is someone who used to not be cool with the paparazzi and eventually switched over and being very cool with it? And the other hand is, who's someone who used to be really cool with the paparazzi and then they kind of changed and they're not cool with the paparazzi? Before I even let you answer, I'm going to give you an example. Michael Strahan, from my experience. Michael Strahan, before he became Michael Strahan, before he became the host on Live with Kelly, he was hosting the morning show with Kelly. He replaced Regis. It was Kelly Ripa and Michael Strahan. Before that, he was the coolest dude. You'd see him every Friday night at Abe and Arthur's, which is a restaurant that's no longer, but he was out in the scene. He was so nice, so cool, fun, cool. Like, we just have like real candid conversations with him. And then once you start to get some of that clout and that fame, forget about it. It was a whole different person. Have you had any of those guys who went night and day or day and night?
That's my answer. Strahan.
Really?
Yeah. 100%.
Why? What's his vibe like with you?
He was so cool with me. I used to ask him. In fact, he used to come up to me and be like, dude, my man, you always ask me good questions, So we had a good rapport. And I used to ask him fun football questions. I'm a football fan. And my brother and my dad are Giants fans. And so it was really cool and special. And I did my homework with him. I always made sure I asked good questions and stuff. And he liked them. And we just had a good vibe. And then as soon as he got on that show, it was like, done, dude. You don't want to talk to me. He would like box me out. And so that was a tough one because I watched him really change. And so,
yeah,
it happens, but I mean, I'm not losing any sleep over it, but I noticed it.
Oh, sure. Joe, what about you? Have you noticed anybody like that?
I had the same experience with Michael Strahan as well. It was back when he was dating Nicole Murphy. Yeah. Remember that? Recall that era? Right. He was real sweet. He was real nice. And, this is a random one, and it just came off the top of my head because we get random celebrities, especially back in my Malibu days. It was the Saw killer, Tobin Bell. You guys know that guy? He's the villain, and he's the Saw killer from the Saw movies. Yeah, anyway, this guy was This guy was sweet as can be. We had great conversations. We're talking philosophical here, you know, and it's random. This is back in the TMZ days, and the types of interviews we get, any celeb's a celeb in our eyes. You know what I mean? A D-lister, if I get a D-lister, I'm happy. Let's have a conversation. Yeah. It's not going to sell to the tabloids, but it might be content on our channels, like on Venivia and whatnot, and TMZ back in the day. But this guy, after like 2 or 3 times, he was like, are we going to do this all the time? You know, like, what is this? Every time I come to Ralph's, I got to do a Diane Sawyer style interview. And sorry, my gimbal just, so and then he became real unfriendly, which was kind of bizarre, because I was like, I just think he was like, once cool, twice, 3 times, I'm good, so I think it was the routine of it. He didn't want to, continually do it every time he went for a green juice,
Yeah. Well,
that was a random one.
We've all been doing this for a while. And I think there used to be a stigma with the paparazzi. Obviously the word paparazzi, as you guys know, comes from the word like mosquitoes. And we were like sort of mosquitoes for celebrities. And nowadays, like Joe said, there's not many paparazzi around these days. Reason is it's hard to monetize. There's not many outlets anymore. People aren't buying the content. They're not buying the photos in the magazines. However, from my experiences, if I was a celebrity, I wouldn't worry as much about the paparazzi these days, as there's these very aggressive fans. They know the value of these autographs. In fact, these autographers are making more money than the paparazzi these days. It's just how it is. It's insane it's just insane how it works. Foley, have you noticed that with the industry, like the intensity of these autographers? And, we've been seeing in the news a lot about these autographers and how they kind of, we've seen the news where there's these overzealous autographers that are they're getting arrested over trying to get the autograph of the celebrity. Have you noticed this kind of trend lately with these fans?
Yeah, Joe, what were you going to say? You were going to chime in on that.
I've never seen so many autographers. It's suddenly like we're in a different time. Throughout the years of doing this, we spent 10 years at TMZ. I don't recall there ever being this many autographers. Suddenly, they are swarming like sharks on, some chat bait here, man. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's a part of that. I definitely noticed that too, but I don't know what the catalyst is for that. Maybe there's the internet or something, or maybe the value of autographs has gone up. I kind of feel like, well, I'll tell you, I interviewed Elon Musk for TMZ, and the interview was good. I was proud of it. It was one of those interviews. Sometimes you do interviews and you're like, oh God. And other times you do interviews and you're like, you're just very happy the way it went. And that was one of the ones where I was very happy about that one. And anyway, the graphers found out, and they're like, did you get an autograph? I'm like, no. And they said, do you know his autograph is worth like $1,000? I'm like, what? I didn't know that. And he totally would have signed something, because after the interview, we kind of talked for a second. And, I feel like Elon Musk's autograph being $1,000, that kind of, when that happened, I feel like my theory is that kind of started the whole thing there. Because I remember back in the day, the big autograph was Paul McCartney, or Ringo Starr. Sure. But the Elon Musk one, because he's a little more tangible, obviously, than those guys were. And especially like a couple years ago, and maybe not so much anymore. But I feel like that kind of jump-started the grapher thing, because that's a lot of money,
Yeah, and listen, these guys are super aggressive. In New York, it's on another level where they're throwing things in the person's face. You can't even see the celebrity because there's so many boards in front of their face.
No,
and for example,
so just say, you guys that are watching, if you're watching this, you want to know what we're talking about. There's and I don't mean to cut you off, Adam. I just want to show this. So we're standing in line. We're standing in front of there's a crowd of people, and the celebrity is kind of addressing the crowd, And so you'll be behind somebody waiting your turn to get your interview. They're going to get something signed. But what they do is they hold up, they have something they want signed, and it's huge, and they go like this. So they're blocking your shot because they have this poster from Die Hard poster, whatever it is, and then they want it signed. And so they'll have a board with about 8 different photos, or these pops, these Funkit. What's those pops called? Funko Pops. Yes.
Funko Pops.
Yeah, well, those are small.
But
It's the posters that they hold up. That
the whole of posters. And again, let's say this, for example, someone put out there, I am accepting consignments for Steven Spielberg. And if you want Steven Spielberg's autograph, it's going to cost you $1,000. Now, let's say Steven Spielberg signs 10, this guy who's getting Steven Spielberg autographs, he's able to get 10 Steven Spielberg autographs. That's $10,000 cash he's making on this. So these guys are making a ton of money. So that's why you're seeing a lot of stuff in the news about arrests with these people, because there's a lot of money to be made. And these guys are going to work so hard because, you know, their job depends on it. Now, not everyone pays $1,000 an autograph. A Wilmer Valderrama autograph might be $15, $20. However, if I get 7 of them, it does add up. So there is some sort of value. Someone will sort of buy it. How do you guys see the industry changing? What we're doing? Is it still fun? Like, what's the vibe like? Because again, essentially in any industry, the industry evolves. It changes. When it comes to cameras on the street, obviously we're all doing this live streaming. Joe's been really successful on it, and we got this new thing called Vanilla, which we're going to get into. But where do you guys see? Are we going to keep seeing these interviews on the street, or the paparazzi style photos, or the celebrities going to kind of be embedded and just do their own setup shots, like on Instagram? What's going to happen?
I think there's still a lot of value in it, especially with celebrities who are lesser known or may not be relevant. We have the opportunity to make, you know, someone relevant again. I mean, at least with the power of social media and our own platforms, we have that power. And if we get a good interview and a great soundbite, we can, you know, use that and monetize that. And I'm all for celebrating the arts, you know, like great artists. Like I saw this, Dick Van Dyke had a huge 98th birthday special. It was spectacular. It brought tears to his eyes. He had everyone, they were performing his songs. And that's someone that I interviewed countless times at TMZ. And his interviews were, you know, maybe 10% of them were published. Now we have the opportunity as freelance, as our own brands, to bring people like Dick Van Dyke to the forefront, and, you know, and just to show, great interviews and interactions with people who are beloved. Even though the mainstream media kind of considers them to be, because let's not beat around the bush. TMZ was very ageist. You know, if you got like a 60-year-old celebrity that hadn't been in a movie in 20 years, they didn't care. But, you know, if I see Pauly Shore, I'm going to go right back to 1992 and start talking about his MTV VJ days. Let's go. I'm nostalgic.
Dude, I'm with you. You get excited for the people you grew up on. For example, like you just said, Pauly Shore. I'm still a Pauly Shore fan. I think the character he developed was still so funny, so smart, so genius. I still love watching the Weasel videos. Son-in-Law in the Army now, still classic movies for me. Now, I'm going to ask you guys about some celebrities, and I wanted your feedback on how these people were. I want your feedback on your interactions with them. Are they cool? Are they not? My first name, Jim Carrey. What's your guys' experience with Jim Carrey? Is he cool? Is he not? What's his vibe like?
I only met him one time. We're doing Hot or Not with the celeb. Hot or Not. I only met him one time. He was nice to me.
Yeah. Were you starstruck when you met Jim Carrey? Because I was.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, because he's such a big. I was.
And you don't see him a lot, so it's one of those things like when you see him, like, whoa, that's Jim Carrey. Like I remember that was the first person I got starstruck meeting was Michael Jordan, because it was just I was like, whoa, that's Michael Jordan.
Too.
And then the second person was Jim Carrey, because he wasn't even real to me. And I was like, wow, that's Jim Carrey. Like, I just never thought I would ever run into him. Yeah. I would never cross paths with Jim Carrey. And I was like, whoa, I don't think you realize how much you meant to me. Joe, have you had any experience with Jim Carrey at all?
Well, I think, no. And that's one of the reasons I think that we still have work to do. You know, there's plenty of celebs we haven't encountered and haven't had an interaction with. And if I saw him spontaneously, and that's the beauty of live streaming, you don't know who's going to pop out of that limo. Yeah. You don't know who's going to come out of that restaurant. You don't know who's going to be walking down the street. So it keeps me engaged that there's celebrities I've never seen. And he seems like he could be a little tricky, but hey, I'm ready for it. Let's go, Jim. Where you at, bud?
Yeah. I'm going to throw another name out there, guys.
I do want to make a point, though. I want to make one quick point, though, because it's very hard, when we're asked questions like this. That's probably the most common question that I get asked, and we all get asked, those of us that worked at TMZ, is who is cool, who is nice. That seems to be the common denominator question that I get. And the problem with that is that, we were meeting those celebrities under the guise of TMZ, which to some people was a very toxic place. Some of the TMZ might have done a story on someone or their family or something that was either wrong or toxic or just written in a very callous way. And so that celebrity got burned by them. So because we were representing TMZ, they're going to be a jerk to us, but they might be the nicest person. You know what I mean? And so I will tell you that, now that I'm doing more photographs, I'm doing more photography, or when I do the live streaming, it's very positive. I don't really talk about racial and gender questions and things that TMZ was kind of pushing for us to do. Now it's like I can talk about really fun, positive things, which is more my nature. And so I'm noticing different responses. So I don't think it's fair to kind of judge some of these celebrities the way they treated us when we worked at TMZ, because we were kind of, connected to a news organization. And so we kind of, that tarnished the way that they saw us. Not every celebrity did that. Some of them were able to see through that and see the person that was doing the interview, but some of them just didn't do that. They looked at us as like a big package. And so I don't really hold a grudge on anybody that was mean to me when I worked at TMZ, because I get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So we're going to play a little game right now. Like you said, we don't, majority of the time, a black SUV pulls up. Why has it got to be black? No, that's just how they are. Black SUVs pull up, and the door opens. The driver opens the door, and we don't know who's coming out, but we have our camera ready, and we need to make them fun, funny, and interesting and unique. That's our job, is to be ready at all times, is to make whoever comes out of the car fun, funny, unique. So let's try this with Joe, okay? Joe, you're outside Giorgio Baldi. Black car pulls up. You got your camera in your hand. There's not too quick of a walkway. The door slightly starts to open. Who hops out? A pretty blonde girl. You see closely. It's Paris Hilton. What do you ask her?
She's the darling of Hollywood, And I would just, first of all, thank her for always being congenial and genuine. And, maybe a question, maybe something I would ask her, off the top of my head is, how do you maintain such humility, being Paris Hilton? And what would your advice be to an up-and-coming star who is struggling with the media and just attention in general? Because there's, more often than not, they do struggle with the attention. She has flipped it on its head, and she walks in the room, no matter how she looks, she is camera ready, and she's always just on. And I appreciate her for that. She's probably my favorite, when it comes to how she handles the media.
Yeah, she's always cool. That's the thing about Paris. People don't realize, she's a total pro. She's very nice. She's very cool. She gets it. My experience, one time I remember getting her, she was walking with her sister, I believe it was, and she's walking through the streets, and there's no other paparazzi on it, and I shoot her, and then all of a sudden, after I'm done with the interview, I walk across the street, and she goes, "Hey, excuse me, can we do it again?" And I go, "What?" She's like, "Can you interview me again?" And she's talking in a different voice. And I was like, "Oh, yeah, sure, no problem." She's like, "Yeah, I just didn't like my answer. I'd rather just do it." Because hey, totally get it. Let's do it over. And we redid the same thing. She's like, redid the same interview, which she just kind of changed up her answer a little bit. And she did the voice, and she was normal and cool. And I was like, you know what? I appreciate that. I get that, So Foley, what about you? You're outside Craig's, and you don't know who's inside. You're in the restaurant. You're sitting there. You got you and two other autographers. There's some people on the streets who are chaotic. It's a nice night, 72 degrees. You're chilling out there. Who comes out? But Will Smith. What do you ask Will Smith?
I don't know. Have you had anything off the new Taco Bell Cantina menu? Because it's pretty awesome.
What? So what?
I mean, I would just go cash, dude. I would go cash. I'd ask him.
Let's go cash.
You know that Taco Bell put a Cheez-It inside their cheesy gordita crunch, dude, or Taco Supreme, whatever it is. There's it in there, dude. Have you had it, bro? It's delicious.
It looks terrible.
Yeah, but people are saying it's really good.
The crispy chicken taco with the avo sauce is legit.
See, that's why Foley's so good, because he makes it so dumb and stupid the guy doesn't realize he's being filmed, and it's like comes more of like a regular conversation. Yeah, and but you know why that's smart? But you know why that's smart is because we both know Will Smith won't really talk to you. He's like he's a robot. He'll smile, he'll take photographs and autographs, and you could be right in his face with the camera saying, "Will, how did you could ask him any other, and he won't answer. He'll act like you just don't exist. He'll keep going about whatever he's doing, but he'll act like you don't exist. And it's pretty incredible how he handles it. And that's the best way to get him to open up, is to sort of do something along those lines. But that's, listen, if you're a celebrity, I guess it depends what level of celebrity you are. Is it important to engage with the paparazzi or not engage with this paparazzi? What are you guys' thoughts on engaging and not engaging with the paparazzi? What's the smart play there?
I think right now, more than ever, it's very important to engage with not only paparazzi, but the public, especially after the backlash. We're seeing it kind of come to a head. And it started during COVID, when the public perception was that celebrities live in their own worlds. And, at the Met Gala, it wasn't a good look for a lot of these celebs. So I think it's time for them to kind of really open up, because, if you want to sell tickets to your movies, you might want to have your fan base, rooting for you. And that goes the same with athletes too. If athletes aren't relatable, then people might fall out of touch and just say, hey, I don't really care to watch these guys play. I want to root for somebody, And, I think there's a lot of people rooting for people like Taylor Swift, Caitlin Clark. A lot of people are rooting for her in the face of, animosity, it seems. And there's a lot of celebs, but, you want to root for these people. You want to enjoy their content.
By the way, have you guys dealt with Caitlin Clark yet at all? Have you shot her or done anything with her?
I played her one-on-one, and I dunked on her.
Nice, Foley.
I missed when she played. I was on vacation. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I saw the videos of her at SNL when she made the guest appearance on SNL in New York, and when it comes to autographs, she did not even look at the cameras of the paparazzi. She didn't engage with the fans. She just kind of was just like, she acted like they didn't exist. Now, I'm not calling her the B word. I'm just saying it came off very, very cold, in my opinion. And I was like, go smile at the paparazzi. Give some people some selfies. Like you're waiting outside for your car. It wasn't that many people. Go say hi for a second. To me, it goes so much further than just to ignore it. And Shaq, to me, is a great example of that, because Shaq would always go above and beyond for people, whenever he can. And that 2 seconds of you just making someone's day, you made fans out of doing that. And I feel like she did not do that. And it was sort of unique that I don't know. I thought that she wasn't engaging at all.
I wonder how much of it is. I guess what I'm trying to get at is how do we know if the person is being a jerk or if they're just really shy? Like sometimes people, I put the camera on, they freak out because they don't like the way they sound. They're afraid they're going to say something that's going to come back to haunt them. So I don't, not everyone has that kind of, personality that's where they can kind of do that stuff. So it might be that she's shy. I don't know. I'm not saying she is, but how do you know if someone's being a jerk or if they're shy,
True. I mean, I don't know. I have a pretty good feeling of people. You kind of could tell kind of what the vibe is like with some of these people. And I've met people who are shy. I mean, it was weird. I saw Leah Michele about not too long ago. And Leah Michele, there was a lot of rumors about Leah Michele being kind of tough to work with and being difficult. And I was on the street, and there were some fans there waiting to get her autograph. And she said to them, hey, guys, I'll get you on the way out. And she kind of said, I'll get you on the way out. And what happened on the way out? She ignored them. And I was like, here's your chance to kind of, redeem yourself. You're in the part of your career where you're starting to it's not like she needs a comeback, but it's an image makeover because there's so many people talking about how difficult she was. And I was like, dude, bad move. And I'm like, you know what? All those rumors, they don't come out of nowhere. And I thought it was very poor taste that she didn't stop for people. And like, who's to you guys? I mean, we always go for the who's the asshole, who's the dick. The nicest people in Hollywood, who are they? Who are those people that, Joe, you would say, man, this person always cool, nice, good to people, just an absolute joy of a person. And it's not a phoniness, it's not an act, it's generally what kind of person they are.
I mean, there's so many over the years, and I mean, I've had conversations with so many wonderful people, and that's kind of what keeps us going. I mean, it could be, someone like Eric Benet, a pretty random name, but every time you see him, I think he was married to
Halle Berry.
Yeah. But for most recently, I asked Linda Thompson about this. I was like, how do you stay so down to earth? Linda Thompson was Elvis Presley's longtime girlfriend, and she's Brody Jenner's mom. She was married to Bruce Jenner, and she was part of that Malibu kind of the nice ladies of Malibu, which included the late Suzanne Summers, who was the nicest person I've almost ever met.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think it's the inherent, it's an innate thing. I mean, I think they're just nice people, and there's quite a few, man, and that's what keeps us out here.
It is, honestly, when people are nice and they're just good people, it's comforting. It's reassuring for me. And I let them know, like, hey man, I deal with a lot of assholes. Thanks for being a good person. And I always try to say, and this is my line, and it's true. It's like, thanks for giving me 2 minutes. Because you gave me 2 minutes, I'm able to keep my health insurance. I'm able to pay for my health insurance because, essentially I tell people I'm not that much different than a beggar. I beg people for their time. And if they give me their time, I'm able to monetize all of that and pay my bills, So I don't have,
That's the beauty. That's the beauty of real quick. That's the beauty of live streaming. You're able to kind of narrate this, like for instance, we were outside a movie premiere and there was tons of A-listers, but Jerry Seinfeld, it was the Jerry Seinfeld Unfrosted movie premiere. And you're able to say, look, is Larry David going to come out and sign? What's he going to do? Christian Slater comes out, signs Christian freaking Slater, guys. This guy's iconic. And he comes out and signs every last one. If you can come out and scribble and help the economy, help someone feed their family, and I'm all for it. That's why I don't understand these autographers. They act like some kind of cartel. It's like, I'm here. Everybody should get a piece of what it is, And if that can help you feed your family, I'm not going to infringe on your livelihood here, guys. I actually celebrate everybody out in the field, which is crazy. But it's like, Larry David didn't sign, but Christian Slater did. And it just shows a little bit about their character. It's like, if you can come out and make, from scribbles, some cash, that's a gift. That's a gift. Yeah. I mean, not everybody has that. So, I mean, I think they should just relish in it, And we saw Will Smith and Martin Lawrence at this last movie premiere. The Bad Boys movie premiere was the best movie premiere I've ever covered. Throughout the past 5 or 6 years, we've started to see the barricades between the public and the premieres. They put up 10, 15-foot fencing so people can't even see in from the street on Hollywood Boulevard. This one was open, all open, and they even performed on top of a bus for thousands of people in the public. And I think that shows that we might see a shift where it's like, hey, we need to be relatable again, because people are getting sick of it. They'd rather watch Joy of Everything or Justin Foley or Adam Glyn than tune into, their latest Netflix movie. And we've seen it with the J-Lo thing. J-Lo's had a lot of backlash because, people think she's not down to earth. She's not Jenny from the block.
So two things I'll tell you. You asked before. I want to go back. I want to touch on that because people might want to know. Because you asked what celebrities were cool, and I got just the top of my head. I'm going to group out 4 names. Jamie Kennedy is a gem. What a beautiful soul. Jamie Kennedy is awesome. David Spade, Drew Carey is a beautiful human. He's awesome. He's always been good to me. And Diane Warren. What a megastar. She's written, every major hit song. Just if you're listening to this and you want to do a little research, because sometimes people do things and they're part of your life and your enjoyment in as far as like the arts, and you don't even know that the person was there. It's like the building blocks of your enjoyment and stuff. And so her name's Diane Warren, W-A-R-E-N, Diane Warren, and she has written, just Google her name and look at all the songs that she has written, and you're going to go, what? It doesn't stop. you're like scrolling. It's just another hit after another hit after another hit. And she is the nicest person. She's such a sweetheart. She always gives cookies to everybody. She talks to you. She's nice. She'll give you a nice hug. She'll say hello. How was your day? She's so cool. So I wanted to say that because she's a real gem.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, honestly, but let me ask you that though, Foley, when you say that, the names you mentioned for the most part are older people, you know?
Yeah.
And Joe, the same thing, you know, you mentioned a lot of older celebrities. Are the older celebrities just nicer because they understand the industry more, or younger celebrities sort of more dicks, or just they haven't been around yet to really understand it? Like, what are your thoughts on the new class of Hollywood?
Well, I don't
For one,
know.
I think it's a numbers game. There are less younger celebrities. Hollywood is let's say manufacturing less celebrities than they did in the 80s and 90s. I mean, there's still a lot of these 80s and 90s, and I guess that's the era we grew up in too, the 80s and 90s. So, I mean, yeah, we don't have access to Ariana Grande. We don't have access to Pete Davidson necessarily. We don't have access to, you know, some of the younger up and comers, like what Timothy Chalamet. He's not going to Craig's. We're not getting one-on-ones with him. So, I mean, I think it's a numbers game too. We don't know because we haven't really encountered these people who are few and far between. It seems to be like there's just less celebs, young celebs.
But you know what? You see people like Sydney Sweeney, who is doing it so smart. I mean, and again, I've had very minor interactions with Sydney because she doesn't really talk, so I don't usually go for it. But I see how she works the paparazzi, how she works the PR. She's so smart. She's so intelligent. You see how her career is doing. She's one of the few to me that actually gets the game of it. She gets showbiz. And I think if you're an agent, a director, a producer, you're going to work with her more because at the end of the day, this is show business. And she's trying to sell a film. She's trying to sell a project, and she's very good at selling projects. You know that she's going to go above and beyond to promote a film. And I think that's part of what makes some of these actors very alluring. But some people, you know, aren't that really accessible. And like you said before, like, you know, you have to seem, you know, like there's a line we have to sort of create where you're sort of accessible, but sort of not. You know, you're sort of relatable, but sort of not. You know, we all like a diva. Me and Dax sort of said, like, we're all attracted to divas, like the Mariah Careys of the world, because they're characters. You know, we want to believe that they're so insane. They have these wild demands. But you also have to seem a little bit relatable. And I think, you know, really that's what J-Lo sort of lacked lately, is being somewhat relatable in a way. I don't know if you guys agree on that. And that's why maybe the audience is maybe kind of turned off in a way from her. My experience of dealing with J-Lo, she's always been somewhat cool about it. Like she's a pro. She's a pro, but yet again, it's not, there's got to be something genuine about it. And I think that's what she lacks a little bit lately, you know? So, Foley, were you going to say something or?
No, I was going to make a point. I was going to just, you know, off of Joe's point before about, you know, the celebrities and stuff and like kind of how it's important for them to talk to the media and whatnot. You know, I think that there's more competition now, right? Like there's more celebrities fighting for attention. I actually think there's more celebrities now. Well, if we want to, celebrities is you got to put it in quotes, because when we were growing up, this is my theory. I think there was, my belief, I feel like there was less celebrities back in the day, but they were bigger. It was bigger to us. They were larger than life. There wasn't that many TV shows, and you didn't have the internet when I grew up, and you didn't have, I know I'm dating myself, but it's just true. And there wasn't internet. You didn't have social media. So the only celebrities we had was like, you know, athletes, movie stars, and TV stars. That's, you know, and musicians. Yeah, those four. But that's all you had. You didn't have other channels to be celebrities. You didn't have social media, streaming, hosting. All that stuff didn't really exist. So now, if you want to say celebrities, I think there's more of them, but they're not as famous, because something very bizarre happens sometimes. Like I'll go to interview someone, and it's like, oh, you know what that person is? That they're a huge star on Instagram, and they'll have like 7 million followers. So they might have more followers than like a TV star. I'll go to a TV star's Instagram page and they have like 1 million, maybe 1.2. this person could have 7 million, 7 times the number of people following them. That's a lot of influence, but I don't even know who this person is. So I feel like fame is very compartmentalized. It's people like kind of have echo chambers, like they find celebrities that they latch onto and they kind of just look at their content and they don't really look at other things. And so like these celebrities have some of these big stars, these big Instagram, social media stars, they have an audience, but that audience is like conducive just to them. You know what I mean? It's like, it's crazy. And so because there's more competition, because now they're all fighting for like, you know, for like eyeballs on their life and stuff like that. I feel like it's important for them to do that, because then that's how they're all. It's kind of a big pissing match for attention, kind of.
Sure. So I want to get into kind of what we are all, the three of us, are kind of sort of doing now, which is really cool. It's really fun. Like we do on this podcast, we reveal the fourth wall of Hollywood, and what the three of us are going to be doing is kind of revealing the third wall of like what we do in our industry, and let people kind of go with us on a day and kind of see what we do and experience it with us. And we kind of host this journey, this adventure of what it's like being on the streets of New York and LA and all these other crazy experiences that we do. For example, Dax, Dax in Europe, but you know, he's going to be joining this eventually. And you know, Joe, you were recently at the Kentucky Derby with all these celebrities. So what can we talk? Joe, explain to us what this new venture we're going to be working on with and what the people should know about it.
All right, guys. We are reporters for Venivia News Channel. And Venivia is a brand new app that is strictly focused on live streaming. And similar to TikTok and YouTube Live, Instagram Live, what we're able to do is we're able to engage an audience and have them produce some of the content. Like let's say with the Paris Hilton thing, if we have 600 people watching, that's a pretty big audience. And you can take questions and engage. You say, what do you guys want to ask Paris Hilton? So you're giving people an opportunity to engage in real time with celebrity and us being the ambassadors. And with that comes, you know, great responsibility too, because we have to be the conduit between the audience who is engaging live. And this might be a weird situation for the celebrity to all of a sudden be, you know, live streamed. Like I did it with Rosanna Arquette. She kind of was like, oh, you're live right now? It's like, yeah, let's go, you know? But that's just what we're dealing with. It's a new frontier. And we're going to be trailblazing this new frontier of interactive live news gathering. And if it be a breaking news situation, when I was covering the Matthew Perry, when he passed away, I happened to be the first on the scene. But pretty soon there was a ton of media. And I had 30,000 viewers at a time on TikTok watching this. So we plan on doing that at Venivia. And we'll be covering red carpets and, you know, news of interest that piques the interest of the people.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool. You know, for example, let's just say Foley's on a red carpet somewhere. You could see him. You're there live with him, and you can see the person coming down. You guys could kind of give the questions. He'll ask the questions, and we're all kind of going through this adventure together. And you never know who we're going to bump into. It's kind of like the fun part about it. I mean, Joe and Foley have always been outside Craig's sometimes, and you'll see, you know, you want to feel like what it's like being outside Craig's one night and see who goes in, who goes out, and waiting to see who comes out, who's going to try to sneak out the back door. And not just the celebrities. You know, we always talk about the celebrities being interesting, but sometimes, as you guys know, some of the most interesting people are just the random people who go in and out. And you're going to be able to experience that with us. What a day in New York is like, what a day in LA is like. And these guys are traveling as well, you know, and Joe is so good of giving people these tours of like the history of Hollywood and Malibu and, you know, talk about their experiences. It's going to be really cool. So let me ask you, Justin, you know, obviously you're going to be on Venivia. What can people expect from your live accounts?
Oh, you know, I've got ADD, so it depends on the day. So, you know, like, I don't know, it could just be a walk around the city where we just kind of interact with people in the street and have fun. Could be a red carpet. Like last night I went to a red carpet for a TV show called The Bay. It was their 9th season. And it's a really cool event. And I was doing just what you said. I had my camera live streaming on the carpet. People would walk down. Someone in the chat spotted this OG soap opera star, and I don't watch soap operas, and so she knew who this person was, and she told me what to ask him, and I did, and it was really cool. And then he was like, "Oh yeah, we were talking on the live," and this woman was like, "This was so cool. I was part of this," So that was, I think it's a cool experience.
Which is really cool that I thought you did was when you were at Craig's one night and people were asking about other spots in LA, and then they're asking about like Lisa Vanderpump, and you're like, "Hey, you guys want to go see the restaurant where Lisa Vanderpump shoots at, her restaurant?" And you just walked over to the restaurant and showed those people like the distance it is between Craig's and like the vibe it's outside, and you're given this like really cool experience where people can't find it anywhere else. Joe, you've been doing live forever. You've been streaming for a long time. You have a huge following on TikTok that's sort of following you to Venivia. Why? Obviously your account is called The Joy of Everything. What is your account like? If people experience your lives who haven't seen it, how would you describe your lives as?
I would just say it's a genuine perspective from just a real person. Like, I'm just a regular dude, like all three of us are. And what's great about us, and it's why I was kind of drawn to kind of bring you guys into Venivia, is you guys are funny. People want humor, and we're able to make a mundane situation hilarious. You guys are both freaking comedic geniuses. I've watched you both live, and I've interacted with you guys. You guys are so talented, and we're able to kind of, make mundane situations hilarious. I mean, seriously, punchline after punchline, and that's what's so fun about it. And it's so interactive and engaging. That's kind of why we're all good at being able to engage with people. Here we're able to engage our chat, who are also engaging with each other, and build a community. And that's the kind of parasocial relationship people are looking for when they're, being entertained. Instead of just maybe watching a movie they've seen 10 times, they're able to just go on one of our channels and say, I'm ready to socialize with these guys and with all the community in the chat and celebrity. So it's a whole new, ball game that we're dealing with. And it's a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, no, it's a really cool time. And how do people find out? Like, how do you sign up for Venivia? How does it work, Joe?
Yeah, currently it's not available in like Canada. There's certain countries that it's not available because we have international audiences. We have built international audiences on TikTok. And so they're rolling out updates. Justin was live last night. It looked pretty darn good. And they'll continually update it. So right now we're just providing feedback and also cross-pollinating on other platforms. So I'm still going to be on Joy of Everything on TikTok, but going to be making that transition over to Venivia exclusively, in the coming months, So just get on. There's an app on the App Store on Apple right now. I think it'll be available for Android soon. So it's Venivia, Vinivia. Follow Joy of Everything there, Justin Foley and Adam Glyn. And let's just keep this rocking and rolling, guys.
That's it. Well, guys, like you just had, follow us on Venivia. You're going to be doing these live streams. And when you don't see us on there, you can follow us on TikTok because we'll be kind of going back and forth between the two. We're going to be going more live, which is going to be cool. It's exciting. It's fun. And this is the perfect time of year to do it. Justin Foley, Joe Andaloro, Joy of Everything. Thank you guys for joining me. I'll see you guys live on Venivia.
Thanks for having us on.
Always awesome. A pleasure, guys. Always a pleasure, guys.
Well, that does it. Like Joe said, it's the Venivia. We're going to be going live a lot. So I'm going to do on my personal TikTok, I'm going to be going live a little bit more. So is Dax. Dax is going to be going a little bit live. We're kind of playing around with it. And then like Joe's so good at it. It's really fun. So you're going to kind of, what I'm going to be doing is you go ride around New York City with me on a bike and just see who we bump into. You never know. Then we got these cool red carpet events where you guys could be on the red carpet with me and ask the questions for me, because sometimes I don't know what to ask these people. Sometimes I ignore them because I don't know what to ask them, but you guys could kind of sort of give me the questions and have fun with it. We'll see how these celebrities, how they engage with it. If Dax is away for another week, so I don't know what we're going to do next week yet. Follow the podcast. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We're on all. We have a private Facebook group called Off the Record. You guys should be in it because it's a really, really fun community. Follow me at Adam Glyn, Glyn. Follow Dax Holt, who's not here, at Dax Holt. And we'll see you guys next week.
What's up, guys? If you like that video, there's plenty more that came from.
Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell so we can just feed you all the goodness daily.
Hurry up. Come on, let's go.